Hello all. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning across all the time zones. Please do keep a check on the screen. There are some important announcements going on. Some training programs are scheduled for this month. An interesting PM forum session coming up on 22nd August. Those who have missed our induction session in last 3 to 6 months, they can join. Induction is coming on 23rd August, Sunday. Please note down all these important events. Yeah, this is something you can take a screenshot of it. Something very important. PMI membership ID, where to find it. Please do nominate yourself as a speaker. Share your expertise with your PMI Mumbai chapter fellow members. So this is the roadmap. We are almost done with August. The first event for August. These are the themes of the next upcoming months: September, October, November, December. Some important channels, our LinkedIn channel, our YouTube channel. PMI Mumbai chapter website, where you can always find what's happening in Mumbai chapter. Okay. So I think let's start. We are all good. Okay. Okay. And let me take over to you for today's event. So today we have an the PM PITSTOP session, a very interesting session with the topic is business value through effective stakeholder engagement and benefit realization. Right. Let's quickly go through the agenda. And before we start, just I'll introduce myself. I am PMI volunteer, working as VP for professional development. And besides volunteering with PMI, I am also a yoga teacher. And before yoga teacher, I was working with 20 years of corporate experience with IT industry. And so that was a short introduction about me. Let me introduce what the PM PITSTOP platform is. We'll start with a brief introduction. The PM PITSTOP is, a quick intro specifically for people joining for the first um, time. It It is a pro. It provides a platform where subject matter experts and project managers from many industries share their experience and demonstrate the usage of various tools and techniques in the real world. Okay. So if you have some unique technique in your industry, you can come down in the PM Pit Stop session and share your expertise or the new tool that is in your industry. Okay, coming to the agenda, we have, I will just introduce Priyanka in a while, then followed by a speaker session, and then we'll have interactive Q&A, followed by PDO and feedback details and closing note. Yeah, sorry, someone was talking. Okay, let me go to a quick next slide. So it's my pleasure today to introduce my team member Priyanka Tripathi. Priyanka brings over 16 years of experience in IT program delivery and project management with a strong domain in the BFSI, with a strong background domain in the BFSI domain. She has worked across technical, functional, and managerial roles, delivering projects for clients across India and APAC region. So her experience spans agile, predictive, and hybrid approaches, along with key areas such as risk, schedule, cost, quality, and resource management. So she is passionate about simplifying, business processes, creating value, and building strong professional relationships. And that's exactly today's topic is related to, right? PMI, as I already mentioned, she is a team member with me, so she's actively volunteering with PMI Mumbai chapter. And today I have, immense pleasure of to introduce her, and as she's working with me as a part of our team. So with that, Priyanka, I hand it over to you. All the best. Thank
Okay, thank
you.
you, Renu. Thank you so much. Okay, so as Renu have given his short introduction, so we will start with the topic itself. Hope that's fine, Renu. Shall we start with the
Yeah,
topic?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, fine. So I'll quickly share my screen. Okay, very, very good evening to all of you who are present over here. And thanks, Renu, once again for giving me this platform. It's my pleasure to speak over here today. Let me know once my screen is visible.
Yes, yes, you can catch it.
Okay.
Uh, it's yeah, now it's better. Little blurred, it was coming, but I think it is better now. Yeah, go
It's
ahead.
fine now. Is it clear?
Yeah, yeah. Not
Okay.
very much clear, I think, but okay, it is readable. You can continue.
Okay. Fine. So today we are going to discuss on a topic we call as business values through effective stakeholder engagement and benefit realization. But before I start with this, okay, I just wanted to have a quick question I have a quick question for all of you present over here. Okay, being a part of project management and dealing with the project deliveries day in day out, we all must have experienced like project failures. Okay, in some or the other way, be it from the time perspective, scope perspective, cost perspective, value perspective. Okay, so there would be certain failures which we have encountered. We would have put the efforts, but things wouldn't have been materialized as we had thought of. And then after doing the retrospective sessions and going or finding the root cause of what it is, we have come with because of certain parameters the project failed. Okay, so can you all please let me know that what are the parameters or rather what are the elements because of which you have encountered a failure in your project? Renu, can you please bring up the first question?
Yeah, yeah. Hold on. Let before that, I think audience, please quickly scan this QR code. Quickly scan this QR code and let's have an, you can copy this code also if you want.
Okay.
Copy. I have posted. I'm posting this link also. So if you want, you can just click on the link If you are on the laptop and all, I have posted the link in the chat window.
Yeah. And I would request everyone to please participate. The more interactive the session would be, the better it will be for all of us, and it will be bringing enthusiasm in me as well to go
Yeah,
further.
yep,
So,
yep.
yeah.
Okay, we are seeing 20, and I think in the chat, in the participant, I see around 50 people. So um, please go on the link. I'm waiting for 30 at least minimum. Okay, the count is increasing. 25. I'm waiting, and three more. Yes, yes, 28. Very nice. Two more. One more. Okay. Uh, last one more quickly. Anyone joining?
Awesome.
Okay. Yeah. So let's start. If those who are not able to join, they can still go to bookclub.com and paste this particular uh, code. Okay, yeah, here comes the first question. I hope it is on everyone's screen, and you can start voting. You can start selecting the answers. So I think we have 31 participants. Four have only responded. Others. So Priyanka, I hope you are able to see how the
Yes,
graphs are
yes, yes,
changing.
Rain. Yes, Rain. This is interesting.
Yeah.
The
So
more
the
we
lowest,
participate, the better we will be able to understand the
yes.
session. Come on. Yes.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Come on, guys. 34 participants we are, and 20 participants so far. I will wait again for 30 count, for 30 participants, 10 more to go. I hope everyone is able to see the screen. Okay, two more. I will wait for 25 at least, not 30, then 25. Okay, stop. And do you want me to go to the next question now, Priyanka?
No, I think we'll
Okay,
go to the slide. Okay. So for can
okay,
you keep this slide? Okay. So what we see is around 50% of you have given the vote to no value being delivered, the maximum vote we have got. And the second highest is I won't say a tie, but yeah, it's a project budget exceeds estimated cost. And the third answer is user adoption and delay in delivery. Okay. And project delivery time as well. Okay. So that goes same. So now I'll share my screen and present something.
okay. Keep this scanner code, active. And then when the time comes, we'll post the next question. Okay. Let me stop sharing. Yeah.
Yeah. So now as you
Priyanka,
all,
your slide, so, sorry, Priyanka, your slide is not that visible clearly.
hmm,
Uh, Let
you
me
want to
take it
share?
over if you want.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'll share it.
Not an issue. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, sorry. And let me share it for you. And you can guide me when I want to move, when you want me to move to the next slide.
Sure. We can move to the second slide. Okay.
This is, oh, yeah.
Fine. Yeah. Thanks, Renu. Okay. So as you all have voted that the different reasons for project failure, okay, you must have definitely experienced also. Okay. So let me bring this together of all the answers which some or the other way, all the options which were there could do contribute to the failure of the project. But what is the maximum because of which the project fails or which we fail to realize? Okay. So before we come to that, I would like to bring that the successful delivery of the project basically three elements, okay, which we have depicted in this diagram, like project delivery, benefit realization, and user adoption. Okay, these are the three elements which stands together to form a successful delivery. Now, when we talk about project delivery, it is the process, the new ways we have completed, the learning and the capabilities, the trainings we give, okay, the development done. So all those comes under this project delivery. Coming to user adoption, now we have developed the project, but how well the user have adopted that project. Okay, that also makes a different difference over here. So, what are the new ways? Have we considered the it is meeting the expectation of the user? So these all things comes under the circle of user adoption. Now coming to benefit realization. Okay, now whether the project has given certain benefit to the organization or the goals of the organization, that we will be considering in this particular circle. So whether the operation costs have reduced, whether we have increase the revenue that is being generated, whether the productivities of the developers have increased, and so on. But when we see these three elements individually, okay, individually they will not be able to stand alone, or we cannot say that only one element would be contributing to the complete success. Okay, all the three do have to come together in order to make a project very successful. Okay, for example, if I'm just taking a project delivered, okay, but there isn't any user adoption being taken care of. So it goes like this, that I have created a project, developed it, launched the application, but the application is no more being used by the users because users do not find it very appropriate or does not cater to the need of the user. Okay, so Renu, I think we
Yeah, sorry,
miss.
sorry. Something happened. Wait a minute. Sorry, sorry. Hold on, hold on.
So meanwhile, Renu brings up, okay, we have already seen this slide. So I would say the user adoption.
Uh,
So
yeah,
if the
yeah.
user
It is
is
okay. Now it's okay.
it's not coming,
Sorry,
I
I am
don't
so
see.
sorry. So sorry. You continue. Sorry, continue. I hope my
Yes.
screen is visible.
Ah, okay. So user would have not adopted that. And the best example, what I was able to find, or rather which we have experienced ourselves. I would over here take an example of SBI Bank. Okay, SBI as a government bank in India has a very strong customer base in rural India rather than if compared to the urban or the semi-urban areas. Okay, and SBI caters to a large number of customers in rural India. And SBI launched an app called Yono, a mobile app. Okay, Yono was able to reduce the transaction cost of SBI to a very considerable amount. But due to the digital illiteracy or the resistance to the digital change, uncomfortness of the digitalization, and more comfort towards the traditional methodologies like going to a branch and doing the banking, it did not get the required success, okay, that SBI was hoping to get in the rural parts of India. Okay, still SBI is working. We can't say that Yono was a failure, but definitely the large number of audience that is being catered by SBI in rural part have failed to adopt Yono as a mobile app. Okay, rather 98.2% of transactions across bank in SBI is done through other channels rather than using Yono. So although Yono was efficient, was giving the capabilities, delivering the part it has to, but somehow due to user adoption or the less number of users being taking part, okay, there were also instances wherein user did registered, but they were not active. Okay, they registered for once and they never came back. So that was also a kind wherein the adoption limitation comes into picture. So though the project was delivered beautifully, although it caters to the capabilities that it required, but the user adoption was not there or missing, I would say, due to which Yono was is not that success. I won't say a failure, but not to the mark which SBI expected to. Now, second, we go with it, although if it is user accepted it, okay, but project did not deliver the expected capabilities. Okay, so over here, there is a beautiful example of NSC. Okay, NSC in 2021 did a digital transformation. Okay, wherein it moves most of its elements, or rather the way it trade to a digital platform. Users very happily, or rather the end users, the people in employees of NSCs have adapted the digitalization very beautifully, and with both the hands they have welcomed the digitalization. But when the transaction starts happening, okay, the day in day out trade started happening, the application was not able to handle the load. Okay, so here we see the limitation of the capabilities. Okay, although the user adopted it beautifully, but the project delivery failed in a way. Now, coming to the benefit identified, many a times, I would say 80% to 60% of times, we see that the project requirement comes in. Okay, we take the project is rewarded to the organization. They just read the simple requirement, and we go and we develop the project. We onboard the team in the planning phase. We everything. Okay, so in but at the very start of the project or at the initiation phase of the project, we fail to identify that what is the basic value because of this project has been. Is the problem statement is the only statement which we are going to cater and we are going to resolve through that, or we have also taken into consideration the revenue increase which might happen, or the turnaround time which has been reduced. So these all factors, okay, we fail to understand during the project. So, but when all these factors are considered, okay, and these factor comes together, there is something called as strategic values, which is being delivered through the project, and that is what that brings the actual success of the project. Okay, that what is the value that is being delivered by the project, whether the project, although the project is delivered in time, user have adopted benefit, but the value which it brings, okay, like every project is being run to increase the revenue. So whether there is an increase in revenue, whether the operation cost has been reduced, whether the we are meeting the trends, whether we are able to compete with the competitors. So these all things are some things which comes in the strategic value, which may not be written in our requirement documents or the SRS or the BRS we go through. But definitely we as a project managers have to identify that what is the strategic value our project is going to handle before we pick up a project. Okay, so that this failure rate has been reduced considerably. Okay, Ren, can we go to the next slide, please? Okay, so again, here I have mentioned certain points, okay, wherein we have low user adoption, benefits not measured, which we have already covered, okay, and so some where we have like poor stakeholder engagement. Okay, and the unclear business objective. Now, unclear business objective, more or less, we go to the measurable goals, which we have stated in the earlier slide under the benefit realization. But stakeholder engagement is something that is also very important. Okay, how beautifully you engage your stakeholder during the phases or the different phases of your project. Okay, that makes a big difference. How you communicate to your stakeholders day in, day out, be it internal or external. Okay, that is also one of the leading factors which contributes to the successful delivery of the project. We'll definitely catch up on this point later of the session. So, Ren, can we move to the next slide, please? Okay. Now, as we have seen the different aspects, okay, that the projects need and what is the value which has to be generated. With this, I think it's time that we all should shift our output, or rather, we should shift our perspective from giving the output of the project to what is the outcome of the project. Okay, we need to understand there are very thin line between both of this, but it creates a huge difference. Okay, we all sometimes just work to deliver the output, maybe due to the pressure, due to the stress, due to the new environment. But when we shift the perspective from output to outcome, I think that that is when the business value is being identified. For example, just to reiterate what is mentioned on the slide, I would read out for you the output views on deliverables. Okay, that what are we delivering? Okay, it could be a complete HR system, a CRM system, or something that has to be digitally transformed. Okay, that could be an output. Now, what is an outcome? What are the improvements? Okay, if I have brought or moved the entire system digitally, okay, so I have reduced the manual effort, I have reduced the cost, I have improved the turnaround time, I have increased the transactions which a day in day out has been processed. Okay, so that's termed to be the output. So basically, it focuses on impact, a measurable improvement the organization achieves. Okay, so definitely, as I mentioned, whether the revenue generation has increased, whether the operational cost has reduced. So these are certain factors, okay, which contribute to the outcome, rather wherein the focus is on impact. Okay. And this is a small formula which I have come up with, like business value is nothing but the delivered solution plus user adoption and the measurable benefit. Okay, can we move to the next slide? Okay. So now we have seen what are the parameters that contributes to the success of a project, what exactly the project outcome should be. Okay, and with this, let me brief you that exactly what all this comprise of. It's nothing but the business value which we deliver to the customer and indirectly to our organization or to meet the large long-term goals of our organization. Okay, so business value is a positive result the business gains from the project, such as increased profit, lower cost, improved customer satisfaction, and greater efficiency. Now, this is what the business value is, and I have segregated or rather divided the business value into six quantifiable dimensions. Okay, first is revenue growth, as I was reiterating in every slide. Second is the cost reduction, whether the development, digital transformation has brought, so for example, these days AI has come into picture for each and every one in each and every organization. We are adopting to AI. But with AI, are we able to reduce the cost? Are we able to reduce the time which we are taking up? Okay, for example, cloud migration. Cloud migration we have started doing. So it is cheaper in cost and it is manageable as well. And things are beautifully. If we are doing the lift and shift, I think that does not take much of the time than it takes in the traditional migration process wherein we have to develop scripts and everything. Okay, now coming to the customer satisfaction. Okay, repetitive customer, reiterating customer, a customer coming to you, giving you business is something that shows that whether your CSAT score is good or not. So that is what the customer satisfaction, developing a self-service mobile app. Okay, so whether that mobile app caters to the need of the customer, what is expected is what the application doing, which is being delivered. So this is where the customer satisfaction also plays an important role. Now, employee productivity, enabling smarter, more effective work. Okay, so how we are helping our employees also. So business value is not just about giving it back to the customers, but all the stakeholders which are being involved in the project process. Okay, so employee productivity is also something that plays a very important role when we are speaking about business value. Because when a person is very highly motivated, he understand that he's also gaining equal amount of knowledge and I think the productivity improves by his own and the recognitions also comes into picture. Now we go to compliance. Any project is not successful if we are not adhering to the compliances. Okay, we may find n number of technologies, n number of things that may ease our work, but we have to be very cautious that whether those technology, whether those things which we are adopting abide to the compliance of that particular organization or client. Okay, if we are dealing, for example, in a banking sector, we cannot go to some of the open system or open AIs wherein the data is being shared on a very casual way or the data has been taken and been used multiple across platforms. Okay, so there that is where we have to be very vigilant when it comes to the client or we are adhering to the norms of the clients or we are working in the client environment. So compliance do play a very important role these days wherein security has is become very vulnerable. Okay, so compliance is something which we have to take care about all the things so that we deliver in a very safe and secure environment. Now, coming to the innovation, okay, if we are not working or if we are not moving to the trends of the market, okay, we will definitely be falling back. So, innovation also plays a very important role when it comes to business value. When you're delivering value, definitely no one is going to take the legacy system, what we have developed, or some change in that. Everyone needs something new, okay, everyone wants to be with the trend. And that is where innovation and the creativity comes into picture. Okay, can you go to the next slide, please? Now, all this which we have discussed, okay, strategic value, business value, and the quantifiable dimensions. But how are we going to achieve that? Renu, can you bring up the question?
Yeah, sure. Give me a second.
Okay, so
I
I
just
want
need
all the
to
audience to pay
go
attention again. The forum is
to
open.
the next
Let's
one.
vote. Yeah.
Shall you go with the next question? If you don't have the participant link, here is the participant link once again. Just click on www.booklab.com and this is the code.
Okay, guys, the clock is ticking. Please start voting.
All of now this time it's little faster. Everyone is saying 40 people have joined and 18 have voted. Let's see.
I think it stopped right now. We are
Okay.
23.
Okay. So 24 years. You can continue with your discussion on this if you have anything, or I can shift to the slide. If you want me to shift to the slide.
Yeah, I think let the voting happen. We can switch to the slide meanwhile.
Okay. So let's go to the slide. Yeah. There you go.
Okay. So the question was how to achieve, okay, and multiple. Sorry, Renu, I just missed to take the note of the answers, which is people. Sorry, my bad.
Okay. Sure. Let's see. Okay. So, okay, sorry. Wait, let me stop sharing. Give me a moment. Sorry. Multiple windows.
Not
Okay.
an issue.
Sure. Multiple windows with multiple screens.
Yeah. So
So
the
I have
maximum.
added so much. Yeah.
No
Go ahead.
worries, no worries. Thanks, Renu. Okay, so I think it's the right people, which we have got like 37%. Okay, risk identification 15%. Second highest is stakeholders, and poor proper planning is 22%. Okay, so let's go to the slide now. We are supposed to go on the seventh
Yeah.
slide.
Yeah. You are here.
Seventh slide, yeah. Okay, and now this slide show. Okay. So basically, the factors which were mentioned in the questions, more or less directly, indirectly, it do contribute to adding to the business value or how we achieve the business value. But something which we are going to discuss today, one of the factor is the stakeholder engagement, okay, wherein 26% of you voted. Uh, so stakeholder engagement, let's go with what the definition it was, and then we are going to discuss it further. Includes implementing strategies and action to promote productive involvement of stakeholders. Stakeholder engagement activity starts before or when the project starts and continues throughout the project. Identify, monitor, engage, understand, analyze, prioritize are some things which comprises of the stakeholder engagement, which we're going to definitely see in the diagram down there. Okay, but before we move there, stakeholder engagement, as it is mentioned, that it is being identified at the very start of the project or before the project starts. Okay, so in the very first stage of the project management, the initiation phase, wherein the SOWs are being signed, and we identify the problem statement, and then we propose the solution, and when we go with all the legal terms and everything, at that very stage, the stakeholder engagement do plays a very important role, because at that stage we understand who are we are dealing with, who we are supposed to deal with, who we are supposed to onboard, and that is where we have to identify or make a rough estimation of how the things are going to move, or rather I can say a blueprint is being prepared, uh, and then we move further. When these kind of actions happen at the very initial stage of your project, definitely half of the battle is being won, and we are not going to make a mistake as such that uh, who is the person to whom we have to contact, and all those questions which do comes in the mid stage of the project. Okay, so now coming to the diagram. Okay, so the first step in stakeholder engagement is to identify who your stakeholder is. Okay, very first step is to identify all of them. It's not only the sponsor who you have to identify or the approving authority, but rather each and every stakeholders which involved directly or indirectly in the successful execution of the project and delivery has to be identified and noted down. Okay, now secondly is determine the requirements. We have to identify the requirement in their language. That's very important. Sometimes we may be dealing with a non-technical person, so it's important that we identify what the requirement is in a layman language and put it into technical terms of whichever project you are dealing with. It could be IT, it could be civil, it could be aviation, or it could be manufacturing. So everywhere the requirement comes in a very layman language, and then we did convert it into a technical terms that suits the development processes. Okay, then it's like determine the expectations. Okay, apart from requirement, there are certain expectations also. They would be having expectation from the cost perspective, from the delivery perspective, post delivery perspective support. Then what are the interest lies in? Okay, what is the motive behind with this project? Okay, that is also very important to understand. Okay, to understand what is on stake when the project will be delivered or if the project fails to be delivered. Okay, now coming back to the diagram. Okay, this is a circular diagram which is a continuous cycle. Okay, which we are going to definitely discuss further also, wherein we are going to identify, we are going to understand the dynamics of different stakeholders, that what the attributes a particular stakeholder comes up. We are going to analyze them. Accordingly, the role they play, we are going to prioritize. How we have to engage, we are going to make a decision of them. And then how to whom we have to monitor only, and that those odds. Okay. Renu, can we go to the next slide? Okay. So basis the things which we have developed, or the stakeholder navigation cycle, the stakeholder engagement cycle, which we just saw, wherein we have to identify, we have to understand, analyze, and monitor and make a decision. Okay, there is something called as power interest grid. Okay, this power interest grid is very self-explanatory. I request each one of you to please pay attention on this slide. Try to read yourself also, meanwhile I explain. Okay, for example, there are different kind of stakeholders. Okay, we have categorized stakeholders basis the interest and the power they possess. Some stakeholders may have high power, but they may not have that much interest in your project. Some stakeholders may have low power, but the interest may also be low. Some stakeholders would have high power and a high interest, and so on, the low power and the high interest. Now, how we have to deal with those people? Okay, Tinu, can you go a slide down, please? Yeah. So, for example, okay, we will definitely go back to the slide. For example, now high power, high interest. Okay, definitely someone who has the authority and who has the power for decision making also. That those are the stakeholders which we are supposed to manage very closely, and that comprises of first and most important project sponsor. The one who gives money is always considered to be the king in that, and we have to agree. We have to manage them closely. We have to keep them involved in a day-to-day basis. Business owner and steering committee. Okay, weekly we have to show them what we have done, how we have done, and how what we are going to do in the near future. Okay, so that is what it is being mentioned on the first point, wherein we have to manage closely. So how what would be the engagement approach over here? We have to engage frequently, involve in the decision making, provide regular updates. So if you're using any of the project management methodology or a framework, okay, like Agile, Kanban, okay, and if you're going through the weekly status report, so over here, those things comes into picture. Okay, you have to keep them involved, you have to keep them engaged, and you have to bring them in the picture. Reports, you have to show them weekly, okay, on your dashboards, and that is how you keep them informed and involved. Now, coming to keep satisfied. Moreno, can we go up again, please? Uh, slide up. We're going down. Yeah, slide it. Okay. So second is wherein comes the high power, low interest. Okay, wherein we have to keep them satisfied, keep them informed, engaged. Key issues to not overload. For example, a CFO. Okay, he may be having the high power, but the interest he possesses may not be that high. Okay, so that is where we have to keep him satisfied. Okay, if he comes, he asks something, we can give him bi-weekly, or we can forward him the reports which we have given to the higher management, so that he is at least informed or satisfied with whatever requirement he wants. Now coming to the low power, low interest, okay, wherein we have we have to monitor them, minimal effort, keep them informed periodically, and low priority. Over here, definitely the team members, the developers, the testers do come into picture. Okay, I'm taking the example from the IT background. Okay, if you guys can correlate if you're belonging to any other domain or sector. Okay, but here from the IT perspective, I'm saying, for example, developer definitely possesses low power, and his interest, I won't say it's low, but definitely not as much as the project manager would be. Okay, so over here he comes into picture. He may has a certain task in his plate which he will complete at the end of the day and he'll go home. Okay, so the minimum effort is required, and whenever something is to become or some changes is there in the hierarchy, certain decisions are being made or certain compliance issue comes up, we have to inform him periodically. Now, low power, high interest. Okay, we have to keep them informed, engaged, communicate, involve, leverage for support. So this is how it is. Renu, can you go to the next slide? Now, there's the examples. So as I told, keep satisfied, senior executive, finance director, regulatory authority. Okay, so suppose your code is being monitored, okay, and the sonar score or the vulnerability scores have been taken care. So you have to keep them informed. Okay, for every milestone, okay, we are going to go live this date. You have to monitor, you have to give us the result by this date, and so on. Now keep informed, like end user, project team, support team. Definitely, these people are not something who would be having high power, but definitely their interest do lies because more or less they will be involved directly or indirectly. Now, monitor low general employees, external observers like periodic update, monitors for change in influence and influences. Okay, we'll move to the next slide. Now, as we have seen the power interest grid, on the same lines, there is something called as salience model. Power interest grid shows what is the authority a particular stakeholder possesses basis the interest and the power he holds. Okay, but in salience model, which was proposed by R. Edward Freeman in 1984, okay, over here we are going to identify the characteristic of a particular stakeholders and how we have to deal with that particular stakeholder. Okay, so over here in salience model, every stakeholder is categorized in a form of PLU. P stands for power, L stands for legitimacy, U stands for urgency. For example, financial chief financial officer may definitely have a power, but he may not be a legitimate stakeholders when it comes to delivery of a HR model, okay, wherein the HR platform has to be redeveloped or a HR application has to be revamped or remodernized. Okay, so over there he may not be a legitimate stakeholder, but definitely he has a power, he has interest, and urgency also he may not like. Okay, so for that terms to be the dormant stakeholder. Okay, wherein it has the power, influence, organization, but lacks the legitimacy and urgency. Okay, he may not be the right stakeholder to ask you, okay, what is going on inside this, when this module would be delivered, or when things are going to come up. Okay, so therein the legitimacy stands. See, it's okay. But definitely, if a CTO is asking you, or a particular information security group, okay, who deals with the compliance, and if he's asks you, okay, why you have used these kind of things in your this module, then definitely he is a legitimate user. Now coming to second is the discretionary stakeholder. Okay, he may be a legitimate user, but he may lack power and urgency. Then we go with the demanding user. There are stakeholders who wants everything right there, right time. Okay, we all have such people in our organization, in our team, and in our senior hierarchies also. Okay, who may term everything to be urgent, but he lacks power and legitimacy. He has nothing to do with project, but he wants everything over there. Okay, why the things are not there on the SharePoint? Why you have not shared this on the weekly report? Although he has nothing to do with it, still he will bug your head. Okay, so that comes under the demanding stakeholder. I know each one of you have identified that person, which was it's, but now coming to the dominant stakeholder. Okay, so this stakeholder is something which falls in the inner circle of important one because this person is legitimate, he has power. Okay, but he may lack urgency. Okay, so for example, a dominant stakeholder could be a CTO. He may not having the urgency because multiple projects are there. So he may have power, legitimacy, but definitely not urgency because certain more things are lined up. Now comes the dangerous stakeholder. He has power and urgency, but legitimacy is being blocked. He has power to stop your project. He has urgency that when these things will be delivered because he that might be one of his KPI which he is going to show. Sorry, but he may not be the legitimate one. Okay, and then the combination of all these, okay, which actually forms a proper stakeholder who has the power, legitimacy, urgency, okay, is something which we have to give the highest priority. Okay, so starting from one, two, three is something which how we have to prioritize the user. So sorry, the stakeholder over here. Okay, so if he's a dominant stakeholder, we are definitely going to keep him in the low priority, and if he's a definite stakeholder, we will give him the higher priority. Okay, if you see over here, down lowest to highest interest, or rather the way we have to prioritize the stakeholders have been numbered, and accordingly we have named them. Okay, the dormant, discretionary, dependent, demanding, and so on. Okay. I'll keep this slide for a minute so that you guys can read it and understand if you must have missed something. And after like few seconds, we can move to the next slide. Okay. Ren, can we move to the next slide, please?
Yep. Got
Okay.
it.
Okay. So as I told, a new HR system, okay, which I gave an example. Now coming, or we are going to reiterate all the users, but with a definite example. Okay. For example, now we are dealing with the project sponsor. He's definitely a definite stakeholder because he has the power. Paisa nahi diya to no, nothing will happen. Legitimacy. He is someone who would be concerned, and he should be concerned because it's money, or rather his kitty, which is being utilized. So he is a legitimate user. And urgency, definitely, things cannot go to the eternity. We have to keep a timeline in which things has to be delivered. So he will be chasing you that when the things will be delivered, are you sticking to the timeline which you have communicated? Has the milestone been achieved? Okay, so that is where the project sponsors comes in the picture. He may comes like once in a month, but definitely he will have the impact of that meeting, which will be there on all the people who are involved in that project. Second come the HR head. Definitely, if it's a new HR system, HR head is something who will also be concerned because when things goes up and down or things falls do not fall as it is, if there is a downtime of the application, then it is the HR head who will be answerable to the rest of the organization. Okay, so she also possess or he also possess the power, legitimacy, and urgency. Now comes the employees and users, people like you and me who may not be interested much with the HR system until unless we have to see our salary slips or certain documents has to be downloaded. Okay, so we do have legitimacy because that system is being meant for me. We may have urgency because at that moment of time we might need that document, but we may not. We don't have any power as such in order to escalate or question the do comes the IT director, as I mentioned, okay, a CTO or similar level who oversees the technical implementation and infrastructure. Okay, has the power, he has the legitimacy because that falls into his jurisdiction, but he may not have the urgency. He is not the user or he is not someone who's going to push because 10 more projects like this would be lined up for him until unless things goes very much red or amber. I don't think he would fall into the definite category. So he is a dominant stakeholder who will have some influence, but not as much as a definite one would have. Okay, now comes the employee union. I think I'm going to skip this one because definitely most of us don't fall in this. Regulators, again, the security group, the compliance or the regulation team who take care of whether things going as per the compliance, they have the power. Okay, they have the power to stop your prod release. They have the power to move the code from one environment to another. So definitely they are dominant and legitimacy because if anything goes wrong, they are the one who will be catch hold from the compliance perspective. Okay, so but urgency, definitely they have no direct influence of your project in their day-to-day life. So that is the job they are doing to make sure everything goes smoothly and in a right way and in the compliant manner, but definitely not the urgency as a particular sponsor or HR head holds. Okay. Now, employee with a critical issue faces urgent issue concerns with the system. He do not hold power. He do hold legitimacy because directly, indirectly, he is impacted with it. And urgency, definitely, he is someone who needs that particular application. Now, a general observer, okay, a third party, or someone, so he may not be directly impacted or affected. So he is not categorized also as a stakeholder. Okay, so this was the complete uh, example considering the HR model basis the salience model, that how what are the characteristics a particular stakeholder can possess in a complete project which we are planning to deliver end to end. Okay. Can you go to the next slide, please? Okay. Now again, a quick one basis the how the reporting should go. Okay, because most of the time you would be hearing, you may be so engrossed in your project delivery and everything as a project manager, delivery manager, that you do hear that, "Bhai, हमको तो पता ही नहीं what's happening from the other stakeholders or a definite stakeholders." Okay, so for that purpose, I have just put down that basis the category of a stakeholder or what role or interest stakeholders hold. Okay, this is from the power grid model we have taken the reference. Okay, how we have to communicate. Okay, in our project life cycle. For example, a sponsor, he has high interest, he has high influence, he has high power, he is a definite stakeholder. Okay, so how we are going to communicate him? As I told you earlier, also through your dashboard, be it agile dashboard, Kanban, executive dashboards, if you have any, and frequency, how it should be weekly, not every day, but definitely weekly. Now users, okay, so users would have high interest, okay, but the influence is very medium. So how you are going to communicate? Maybe during every release of a phase or at the end of the project, you might have held trainings, workshops, and that could be bi-weekly also. Okay, now coming to the people, like the developers, the team members, the project managers, they have high interest, high influence, because definitely if we have to deliver the project, the team has to be together, okay, aligned to the same goals. Okay, so how we are going to take care of them? It would be the Scrum meetings. Okay, Scrum meetings, like a framework which we all follow, and then or a daily stand up. If you're following the agile trend, and how we have to communicate, what is the frequency? Daily we will be evaluating that where we are, where we have to, and how we have to go further. Okay, can we move to the next slide, please? Now, this was the factor, okay, one of the key factor which we found that how the strategic value or the business value can be achieved. But what's the outcome? Means it goes like this. For example, you have started you decided that I have to be fit. Okay, you ordered nice shoes, expensive one, you order the track pants, you order the microfiber t-shirt, expensive wali, and then you ordered nice water bottle, gym bag, this, that, falana, everything is there in place now. Okay, the key factors are all there. You have taken a membership also, but what is how you are going to evaluate? Okay, whatever you have put in, okay, to all the kharcha which you have put in to get fit, how you are going to evaluate? Okay, what is the outcome of that? So I'll just put a brief question, then I think you all know the answer of what I have asked, but definitely let's go to the question answer, and then we will come back over here and we'll discuss the outcome as well. Thanks, Renu.
Here you go with the next question. Those who have joined late, they can click on the link that I have shared, or you can go to mooclub.com and type this particular code. Well, I have also shared the link with you. So all those who have already there, please start voting.
Okay, let's start. So this is basically, I will just reiterate that whatever we have discussed till now, okay, what are the elements, the stakeholders, the models different, then what will be the outcome of that? Okay, so that is what the question asked over here. The answer would be very obvious till now, but still, I think let's give a try. Maximum participation would help me to stay motivated and enthusiastic. I think we can do better, guys. I require participation. We have 68 folks. Let's target for 40 at least today. Come on, it's not that difficult. We do this day in, day out. Okay, 31.
Those, yeah, 31, 32, 33. Come on,
Uh,
guys. Waiting for you. Is it that difficult? So simple
yeah.
question.
I think we have there is no minus marking over here. Neither anyone is going to
Yeah.
check who has answered what. So let's be enthusiastic and let's participate. Okay, let's make this session bit interactive.
Yeah. 50 people on the book lab, but uh, right now only 31. Okay,
51.
51. But
Okay.
let's see.
Then let me know when you have to move to the slides. Okay. I think I
Okay.
have the answer.
Yeah. Okay. 32, 33. Anyone? Anyone more?
Okay, the
I'll wait for
close.
five. I'll wait for five counts. Five, four, three, two,
Come on, guys. The clock is ticking.
and one. Okay. We continue with the presentation. You want to share anything inside the options?
Okay. It's fine. So as we see over here, 70% of us have voted for business values, 15% stakeholder, 9% for good credibility, 3% for higher profit, and 3% for good appraisal. Awesome. Good appraisal one is very good. I think that is something that keeps all of us motivated. But okay, let's come back to the slides. Can you move to the slide?
Uh, yeah, yeah, sure. And no one is bothered about the team, I think. Zero.
Satisfied. Yeah.
Okay.
Satisfied team
Okay,
is
here
something
you
वो
go.
तो हो ही जाएगी. Okay, so now what is the outcome? So to answer what
Okay,
we
fine.
discussed, like definitely if we are following fit, okay, if some inches is being lost, there's a good glow on your face, all the money or the expenses you have done, okay, to stay fit, is worth enough. Okay. And in the same way, if you are doing all these steps right, okay, and every element which we have identified till now in this session, okay, are put properly in place, definitely business value is something which we are going to achieve. Okay, as we discussed at the very start. Ready, can we move to the next slide, please? Okay. So this is where the benefit realization comes into picture. Okay. I'll just reiterate what's mentioned over slide. Benefit realization is a structured process of ensuring that the expected business outcome and value identified at the beginning of the project are achieved, measured, and sustained. To be noticed, it needs to be measured and sustained after the project is delivered. It goes beyond simply completing the project. A project is successful not only when it is delivered, deliverables are produced, but when those deliverables translate into measurable improvement for the business and its stakeholders. So, as we discussed, and as I mentioned in the very start of the project, of this session, and in middle also, that it's not the business value we have to identify at the end of the project. Okay, but as a project manager, as this important stakeholder, or as a definite stakeholder, it's very important for us to identify the business value, or rather target the business value at the start of the project. Okay. Okay, so it's not that we start saving for our retirement when we are very near to the retirement. It's said that we start saving from the very first salary, and then it will be something which we are going to take it during our retirement. So same way goes to the project also. If we are initiating a project, we have to identify the stakeholders. We have to target our business values. We have to identify what business value this particular transformation or the development or the application is going to bring at the very start, and then we have to take steps toward achieving those business values. Okay, now let's see going further. So over here till now it's very clear that outcome and output, okay, is something which has a thin line, but they are not the same. So is the benefits and deliverables. Okay, we could benefit certain things, okay, but those The deliverables, or sorry, I have to say otherwise, that deliverables we are ready to deliver. The project would have been delivered in time, within scope. Okay, everything is proper with the project, but definitely the benefits would be lacking in those projects. Okay, so benefits and deliverables are not the same. Benefits are the values which we identify and which are sustainable, as it is mentioned, achieved, measured, and sustainable. Okay. Now, project implements a new digital procurement system, new procurement system platform implemented. This is just a small example which I have put over here. Okay, so how the benefit, so deliverables, what we consider over here, the procurement platform is implemented. But what are the benefits which we have identified after the deliverable? Is the cycle time reduced to 30%. That time is reduced by 30%. Manual effort has been reduced. People have come digitalized. Unnecessary files, documents, human errors are completely vanished. Better compliance and visibility, since the process is digital. Now, the visibility and transparency is as much as it could be, and cost saving has achieved. Because definitely, when the things move from manual to digital, there would be cost saving because people would be reduced, time would be reduced, and more transaction will come into picture. Okay, now a small differentiation I have given over here, that what are deliverables and what are benefits. Quickly, I will reiterate because till now we all have already understood that what the project produces is considered to be deliverable, and what we gain is something, is the benefit. Okay, deliverables could be tangible. Okay, in a manufacturing it could be output, in pharma it could be a product, in our IT it could be capabilities, and in benefits, values and the outcomes. Okay, that what is the value and the outcome, as we mentioned, higher production, reduced production cost, operational cost reduction, higher productivity, turnaround time improvement. Okay, usually achieved during project execution and often realized after project delivery. But definitely, although it is identified after project delivery, we have to evaluate, or rather identify, or keep a milestone at the very initial state of the project. Okay, now example, new digital platform. Say in benefits, the same platform example would be faster customer service. Okay, new training program, improve employee productivity. New process, reduce processing time and cost. Okay, so just one more. Deliverables are what we create, benefits are the value we realize from using them. Distinction is important because the project can be delivered successfully but still fails to realize the initial benefits. Okay, or rather the intended benefit. Fine. Can we move to the next slide, really? Okay. So this life cycle, I will pause for 3 to 4 seconds. I request each one of you to take a look, keep in mind, and next slide we will discuss that what is the life cycle all about and how this particular cycle continues in the benefit realization life cycle. How we are going to relate it with the process of project management, how things goes in project management, and same way in the business value. We are going to correlate a little. Okay. Then can you please move to the next slide? Okay. So whatever we saw in the circular manner, I have tried to segregate it, okay, over here, the complete life cycle, okay, in a readable format with self questions to be asked, and what is the focus areas which we have to understand, and how the cycle continues to repeat. Okay, so first is the identify the benefit. Okay, so from the mid of the session, we have been continuously iterating one thing, that value has need not have to be identified at the end of the project. Ek bar we have delivered, then doesn't mean okay what we delivered, okay whether it has value. No. As a sponsor, as a critical stakeholder or as a definite stakeholder, we have to identify what is the value this project will give. Okay, the what question should be asked at the initial state, at the initiation phase of the project management. So, if we are going through the HR system revamp, okay, so HR head has to question, or if any person comes from the sales team of any organization that we are planning to do this, okay, then the HR should think what is the value we are going to identify. If the value suits to the goal of the organization or is measurable and sustainable for the long time and is actually giving benefit, then we are going to go with that particular plan. Okay, so these steps are taken care at the very start of the project. Even before the project comes into existence, these things has to be taken care of. Okay, so that is where we identify the benefit. What is the value we are trying to achieve? Typical focus should be on the objective, benefit statement, baseline, and benefit owners. We just mentioned. Now, coming to the plan benefit. Definitely, we have initiated it. How we are going to plan the benefits. Okay, how we will make the benefit happen. Now we have understood with the platform, but now we have to set the stage to in order to bring those benefits into picture. Okay, so that is where the planning will start. Okay, we will identify the people, the team, the technologies, the things which we have to carry on. This is the requirement which we have received. Third point is execute the project. Definitely. Now the planning has been done, stage has been set. Let's start the show. Okay, so when the show starts, we have to identify the deliverables, the capabilities, the process, the changes required to enable the benefits, and the risk. Okay, to be identified, adoption readiness. That how, if for example, adoption readiness, I can mention like user friendliness. If I'm dealing with some application or a UI over there. Okay, so the question we are going to ask over here is what must we deliver to enable the benefit? Now coming to the transition phase. Okay, definitely. Now the project is being developed. We have identified, we have planned, we have executed. Move the solution into a business as usual operation and enable adoption. Okay, now how we do turn the deliverables into business value. So definitely we are going to give the handover, training, adoption, change management, operational readiness, and all those things are going to take picture. Definitely before that, the compliance, the monitoring, the execution, everything do comes into picture, but we are moving to the transition phase. Now, once the transition has happened, the end user has start using. Okay, you remember the NSC part wherein user adoptability was high. Okay, but once the user started using the application, we identify the system is not able to take the traffic which is coming in or the load testing is failing. Okay, so over here the measure the benefit. Now, whether the capabilities are identified, whether what the system is doing, what it is intended to, or whether the benefits which we identified earlier, are we able to achieve something real like that? Then here it comes into the point number 5. Now, point number 6 is to optimize. Okay, everything goes a little down or would say out of trend or some after certain views we identify it should be something like this rather than this. Okay, but that's not the failure, but that is optimization. Okay, something that is could be better than what it is. Okay, so identify the gaps and opportunities to improve the level benefit being realized. So process improvements, adoption, and corrective actions. Okay, now continuous improvement, whatever we have done. Okay, it's not that this is going to be there. Okay, versions would change, people would change, trend would change, market would change, demands would change, and basis that we have to change. And if we do that, that will be termed as a continuous improvement. How do we keep creating value over time? So as I mentioned, the market will change, the trends will change. To be sustainable, sustain in market, we have to follow the trends. Okay, so sustain the benefits while continuing adapting and changing the business need and opportunities, and so on. This cycles repeating. Okay, so a quick glance you guys can take, and at the bottom, if you see, I have shown that how this cycle goes and how it comes back to define value. Okay, because even if we are doing a continuous improvement, if I'm going switching to AI, for example, in my current project, I have been using a legacy code, okay, a three-tier legacy code, but now it's like I have to bring AI into picture. But what is the benefit AI is going to bring it? Okay, so before I get AI or before I give a quotation or a proposal to the rest of the vendors to come and pitch in for me, I'm going to go to step one. Okay, so first to seven I have already done, but now I want AI to be there in my project. So I'm going to go to step one, identify the benefits. Okay, so I hope this example is very relatable these days to each and every one of us who are working in information technology domain. Okay, then can we move to the next slide, please? So this is a benefit register template. Okay. Similarly, I will be helping you guys with other templates also. Okay. So here a simple template wherein the benefit ID, benefit title. Basically, if you're dealing with a big project, we do identify the IDs and we do maintain those. What are the title, description, baseline, target, owner, planned actual realization, percentage realized, status, comments, and so on. And definitely the part and things like what to whom the project belongs to, sponsor, strategic objectives, and the success criteria. So I have keep it very simple. Okay, this is just a template. It's not something which we all have to follow. There could be things better than this. Okay, you guys can make an addition on this basis your project, but this is a simple template form which I have given. If you need, you can take the reference. Can you go for the next slide, please? Yeah. So benefits which we have measured, okay, are not always measured on certain. There are certain KPIs also, basis which the company measures, and each one of us who are on the mid management, higher management, senior management, who have gone through this particular. Okay, so financial KPI, ROI, NPV, growth, revenue, what we have attained. Operational KPIs, it's like productivity. What is the cycle time? What is the defect reduction? Okay, defect is something, sometimes it creates havoc all around. Okay, for example, the productivity, how it is, what is the cycle time? Has the turnaround time improved? Okay, something, for example, a report generation would have take like a complete night. Okay, now it just take 10 minutes or 20 minutes and it can be generated any time of the day. Okay, so that is how it goes. Now, revenue growth. Has the particular project increased the revenue, be it from the cost reduction, be it from the reducing the operational time, or whatever way, but has the revenue moved up a little? That also makes. Now coming to the customer KPI. Customer KPI is like NPS, measures the customer willingness to recommend the organization product. Repeatability, retention of the customer, okay, all that. Now CSAT, as we told, the customer satisfaction is also very important. Okay, sometimes it's not only doing everything right, we also have to take into consideration whether the customer is satisfied. As I mentioned in the very mid of the session, that the intent, okay, what is the interest of the customer, what is his expectation. Now expectation, requirement, there is a very thin line, but definitely we have to make a difference and we have to understand. Requirement would be something basis the application. Expectation is something you deliver this in within 2 weeks. Okay, although the project requirement is for 1 month, I want this in 2 weeks. Okay, that is his expectations. Okay, that is going to create something like a brownie point for you. Ha, 2 hafte mein we have done this and we have delivered these things. We have given at least a phase one, phase two, whatever their demand is. Just a example. Okay, so please do not take it literal, but yeah, these things do happen with all of us, or we have encountered such stakeholders who have very aggressive timelines, or they have very stringent costing, but they want everything. For example, one of the client of mine, okay, from a banking sector, we were modifying the HR portfolio, and they wanted all the fancies and daisies and everything to be floating around that website. But they were not ready to pay us. They want all the trending and the latest technologies, niche technologies which are there in market, low code, no code, and everything to be there in place. They want all the flowers and all the beautiful elements coming into the HR portal, but they were not ready to give us the money. Okay, so their expectation was low cost, high profit. Okay, so just to put it that way. So that is also very important, and then only we can get all those things. Now coming to the employee KPI. Are people adopting and benefiting from the change? Okay, so over here there are 3 R which each one of us follow. That right time, right people, and right place. Okay, so if we are making a change, are we targeting the right people? Are we targeting at the right time? And are we targeting at the right place? Okay. So for example, there could be a system wherein there is very much slowness, okay, reporting system or something where the slowness is very much. Okay. People have moved to AI, we have all moved to 3 levels up, but they are still stuck in the legacy system. So are they the right people? Yes. Are they the right place? Yes. We can bring the transformation over there. We can change from the legacy model to the microservices or the modular framework or something like that. Okay, are there something where acceptable to the change? Definitely yes. So this is where the employee KPI comes into picture. Now engagement, measure employee involvement, willingness to support the change. Okay, satisfaction, measure the employee experience with the new process system and the way of working. As we mentioned, adaptability. Okay, how easily the people are able to adopt it. You know, example which we gave at the very start. Okay, so form to from initiative to realize benefits, there's a flow chart which you can see down there, and executive summaries are something taken from the above example that the new digital platform, how it is giving the financial KPI adoption, then cycle time, how it is reduced customer satisfaction, CSAT score from 70 to 90, operating cost has decreased, and so the benefit has been realized at the end. And connection to benefit registered also have been stated over there. Okay, can Shankar has raised his hand really. We are going to take it or we're going to take in question and answer session.
We'll take it after the after your session ends. So please hold on, Shankar. We'll come back to you.
Okay, we can move to the next slide. But all of this which we have seen, okay, seems to be very easy, seems to be very good, a very sunny day scenario. But we all know that there is set of challenges which we do face. Okay. At the very start of the project, I said that rural India digital issue is there. People still have trust issue with the digitalization. They still prefer a bank. If we see a person, that person is accountable directly or indirectly. That's an unsaid way. Baba, I trust you. And if I'm giving money, that person doesn't give money to the bank, but rather he gives to the branch manager. Indirectly, that is the message being conveyed by that villager to the branch. Okay. Few would be there like this, but definitely these kind of people still do exist in the rural India. Okay, and I think we all would have experienced that when we visited our grandparents uh, or someone very old age, okay, because they don't understand what is UPI, what is Paylight, what is phone banking, okay. They understand that there is a bank, there is a person, okay, you call this person, he will have answers for all your problems. So that is where the resistance comes, okay. Delay adoption and reduced expected benefit. So some of the challenges which I'm going to discuss that we might encounter when we are trying to achieve. So example, delay adoption and reduce expected benefit. Okay, so adoption rate is less. So how we are going to, what are the solutions which is recommended? Involve stakeholders early, communicate the value of change, and address concerns proactively. Okay, so here, if we are involving the stakeholders at the very early stage, for example, the product owner is there. He is communicating with the end user. We are able to demonstrate whatever we have developed at the very early stage. That end user knows the mindset of the people who are going to use the application. Okay, so he can give the correct feedback at the very right time. Okay, right time as in till now the project has not moved completely. We still have the scope of improvement, or we still have the scope wherein we can make changes. Okay, or things can be done in another way. So that is where the involvement of the stakeholders can come at the early stage because he understands our language, he understands the language of the end user, and he's the one who's bridging the gap. Okay, so this is how the resistance of change or resistance to change can be reduced. Now, scope creep. This is a common problem which each one of us encounter every week, every month. Okay. Even if you don't will to accommodate a particular additional requirement, your stakeholder or your client would force you to do that. Okay. Or directly, indirectly, someone from your team would communicate or commit that, okay, we will take care of this. Okay. So that leads to scope, diverts resource and can dilute the intended benefit if we are taking more than what is being required, what is being stated in the document or requirement document, definitely it is a clear example of scope creep. What it results to, it could result to delay in time. Very obvious. If you're taking too much in your plate, there will be indigestion happening. There will be things which will you will be missing. Okay, in projects we do miss our timelines. Cost would be compromised, definitely. Delay in time, more cost would be incurred, and so on. The business value gets diluted. How we have to reduce that? Establish clear scope, decisions right, change control, and escalation mechanism. So if a particular thing has to be accommodated or asked to be accommodated in the same cost, in the same stipulated time, then definitely the change management is where it comes in place. Okay, so change management will take care of it, and we have to be very vocal that okay, we if you are giving this change, I will take it, I will accommodate, but through the change management process and not something on the goodwill or care. We have to identify, or rather we have to make a very wise decision that what things have to be taken on a goodwill basis, what things we have to accommodate from the change management perspective. Okay. Now, poor communication. Many a time, what I speak, what you understand, there is a great difference. So, here comes a misunderstanding, misalignment, and stakeholder resistance. Sometimes the communication language becomes the barrier. Okay. A developer may not be able to speak a good English, and the person who is giving the requirement would be only understanding English. Okay. At such scenarios, it is the project manager or the product manager who can bridge the gap. And even if they have issues with the language, then God bless the project. Okay, then define key message, audience, channel, and communication frequency. As I mentioned earlier, a sponsor, a IT user, and the end user. What is the frequency of how we have to update them on the day-to-day basis? So it was weekly, for bi-weekly, and daily. That comes over here. Benefits not measure makes it difficult to prove whether the value is being realized. This situation comes in the picture when we are not identifying the value of the business at the very start of the project or before the project comes into existence. Okay, then this particular issue comes. So, as it is mentioned, establish baseline targets and regular benefits tracking. So, at the end, the benefit register will definitely play an important role because if you identify whatever things you're doing, if you're trying to evaluate the value it's going to produce, definitely that register you guys can use and maintain on a day-to-day basis. No ownership. Benefits may fall between project and business responsibility. So who is supposed to measure the benefit? I think the best question comes over here. So ownership is not being taken. So assign clear accountability. Okay. So over here, I think the RACI metrics can be used. I have created a template of that as well and an example. So we will be looking into it. So who will be responsible, accountable, and who need to be informed. So all those we will be seeing in the next slide. And low adoption. Okay. So as we started with the Yono app example, over same goes over here also. Deliverables may be completed without generating the expected business value. Training plus change management prepares users, providing training and reinforce new way of working. So this were the some challenges, okay, common challenges. Every project will definitely have their own set of challenges basis the nature of the project. But definitely these are some of the common problems which each one of you have experienced in your project life cycle. Okay. Now summarizing this is how the sustainable benefit is being realized if we have a proper governance, if we have the people who take the ownership, if we measure the benefits, adoption rate is good, and communication is well established from the start of the project, definitely a sustainable benefit could be realized. Okay. Okay, so risk is also something wherein we deliver the project without realizing the value because that leads to the waste of time and efforts and the resources of an organization. Okay, that is what the last line of this slide explains. Renu, I think we can move to the next slide. I think we are about to. Renu, can you go to the next slide, please? Am I audible, Renu?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Uh, is this the next slide? After
Yeah,
that slide, sorry, I moved from the
yeah,
screen. Like, can we
yeah.
move ahead? Up the last slide, which I explained, the
Oh,
challenges part.
hold on. Okay. So this was,
Okay, RASI metrics, fine. So as I mentioned that RASI metrics is something wherein responsible, accountable, consulted, and informed. Okay, so a quick view. I think everyone if can just go through the slide quickly, considering the time. Okay, so just a few I will take. I'm not going to take every factor over here or deliberate activity. For example, the project scope. Who's responsible for project scope? Definitely the project manager, not no one else. He is the person who's going to face all the rates, so he should be all of taking care of the scope of the project. Okay, project sponsor is accountable. So if the project fails, he will be definitely accountable. Business owner is consulted and users are informed that we are going through these changes. Now, approved business requirement. Again, the project manager will be responsible for the it's the project sponsor who is accountable because he's one who's going to identify the value. Project manager is responsible. Business owner is also accountable because he's the one who will explain us that's how things has to be. IT team is consulted and user, and so on for the rest. If everyone can take a quick look, then we can move to the next slide. So this kind of matrix, okay, I encourage everyone to prepare for every project of yours. Even if you don't share with your stakeholders, but if you share among your team and you keep a record of this, trust me, many a times in your absence or when things are not clear, these matrix will definitely help. Okay, and you can bring these things. So I really encourage. So even if these kind of things are not being encouraged in your project, keep it for yourself as a good practice. That will help you going forward, wherein these things are identified to take care. Okay, can we move to the next slide? As the times is passing, audience is becoming more active. I like it. Okay, so summary, can we go, Renu, quickly? Slide above. Yeah. So summary, quickly I will go. It's like project creates output. Okay, that is definitely the deliverable. Stakeholder engagement creates adoption because if your stakeholder is involved, that is through the product owner or someone from the end user side, definitely the adoption rate will be higher. There won't be any failure because of the adoption rate because they know what the people want. Adoption creates benefits, as I mentioned, and benefits create business value. When the project is being accepted, adopted, and delivered on time, definitely a value will be realized. And so it is mentioned. So business value is nothing but delivered solution along with user adoption and the measurable benefits. Can you move to the next slide? So this is an infographic I have created for the entire slides which we have discussed or the summarizing the complete session. Okay. You guys can go through. I have divided this into two pillars or two sections. First is strategic stakeholder engagement and second is the realizing the measurable benefit. Again, quickly recap, adoption drives business value. We have a power interest matrix wherein basis the interest and the power these stakeholders are identified and how the faster decision making, better decision making, timely decision making leads to good returns. Now, coming to the pillar two, which focuses on the business value formula, nothing but the delivered solution, user adoption, and how the benefits have been measured. What is the differentiation between the deliverables and the benefits? How the benefits realization life cycle works. If you remember that big life cycle, fixes which we identified that how initial plan, execute, and so on. And the projects, okay, different we decided. So this is all. Can you have next? So thanks everyone. So apart from this, we also have certain templates. Okay, takeaways for this project. As this particular session, I want it means these templates like benefit registration, RASI metrics templates is also there, which I can share along with you, and a stakeholder register. So Renu, how we are planning? We can share this if required.
We can send it as an email. So when we send the PDU code email, I will put this as an
Oh,
attachment.
sure. So
And
these are.
we are
Hmm,
here
hmm.
are few people who are also demanding this PPT. So if your permission permits, I can
Yeah,
send
yeah,
that as
sure, you
well.
can. Yes, you can.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank
Okay. I
you.
think
Fine,
the
go ahead.
forum is now open.
Okay. So let me take up some questions. I think in Q&A. Uh, okay, let me open Q&A. So one question, Shankar, let me start with you. Let me allow you the allow mic and allow camera. So you can continue, Shankar. Please unmute yourself and go ahead.
You have just activated the mic now. Thank you. Thanks for the session, Priyanka. It was really wonderful session. And being an IT person, it had cleared my too much means cleared my doubts. Just for curiosity, in one of your thing, you mentioned that you are working on the legacy code migration.
Hmm.
So, just for curiosity, I just want to know, are you aware what tech stack or what they are trying to do it? Because I have done a similar type of systems for my previous client, where
Hmm.
we had where I've architected everything and I have converted their migrate legacy code to the latest technology what they were looking for.
Hmm.
And yeah, secondly, the main problem you had already mentioned in your next slide that the poor communications, and that's the main thing where developer or the team member are not able to explain to the stakeholders. But
Hmm.
what I found that within the team members also there's a problem because for not for even for this project also we both were architects, and over here I was trying to explain means what system has to be developed and why we have to not to go with some tools like Cursor or Copilot to do this activity, rather trying to develop our own agents. But
Hmm.
it got declined at the first two stages, but at the third stage when I created POC and provided to them, it was clear that what they had developed was creating a too much pain for the developers. So
Okay.
that's the main thing. What I want to ask is how to handle such type of stakeholders
Yeah.
or team members. So
So if you remember, I showed a slide wherein it was like navigation to stakeholder engagement. Okay. So over that, there I was like identify the stakeholder, get the requirement, identify their expectation. Okay, and identify the intent. Okay, so that is very important over here, Shankar. Okay, many a times we deal with the stakeholders, they are able to communicate to us very properly that what they want, but when they show to us, that is very different. Okay, so when you say that the two times they what they were trying to help you with were not, but when you gave a POC, I think you connected the dots. Okay, you connected the dots in a very technically feasible manner. Okay, which can cater to their needs, and they were getting those stuff. So here, which I understand is it is not the problem with the developers, but it is the problem with the stakeholders who's communicating the requirements. So sometimes it do happen because they may not be technical people. Okay, and it's very beautiful and good to hear that your architecture got approved. Okay, because sometimes even the sponsors or the definite stakeholders don't understand what they want. Okay, at this stage or in such scenarios, it becomes very difficult to identify what they exactly want. So about two things I would mention. First is you have to understand the intent. Okay, you have to understand the nature of the stakeholder who is giving you the requirement. Okay, whether he is technically sound or not, whether he understands your language or not. If not, then you have the way you did. Okay, the third time you created POC and you gave them that gave them a clear picture. Ki, yes, we can go from this direction also. Second is whenever such things come, it's recommended or I encourage that we break the complete module. Okay. Do not try to eat the entire chunk together. Break it into modules. Put it into phases. Okay. When the phase wide delivery happens, after the first phase of the delivery, the things will be very clear that what are the expectations of the stakeholders. Although you may be communicating them weekly, fortnightly, or every day on a call, but after the first delivery, it will be your eye opener, and then instead of wasting the entire cost and time over the entire stint of the project, at the very first phase, you will identify, okay, now I have to move in this direction. And then you will realize, okay, this is where we have to head. And things you will see the changes automatically happening over there.
gotcha. Yeah. So over
I
here,
hope I answer your question.
yeah, you answered the question, but yeah, the slight changes were. It was not stakeholders because output of both architects. It was a brainstorming between two technical architects, myself
Okay.
and my other colleague. So
Okay.
he had means, rejected my thing because he was a senior over there, and as a stakeholder or an end user, what my intent would be that I should get my output. But as a developer, means even the output is there to in future I have to support that system. That supporting part or the testing part, even nowadays, whoever are using Copilot or Cursor, they would realize that the agents, what is such type of agent or tools are developing, they are not in a proper what do you think proper solid, they are not following the proper solid principle, and due to which the people who later on handle that are facing the problem, which I had solved and which they had lacked. And for a stakeholder, output was same. What output he had provided was same like what output I had provided. That's the reason they had cancelled my thing, because for me it was I was utilizing the resources, whereas at his end he was utilizing the directly a tool. Even it's paid, but it would be little quicker as compared to the tool what I would be using. So that was a reason. So over here, how to even communicate with the same person or same person or same level person or the same technical person. That was my main challenge, not with the stakeholder. I was able to explain to the stakeholders what actually the problem is, but I was facing a little bit hard to handle such type of team. So that was my main question.
So in such case, I would say that do read the persona of the person. Okay, and if he has proposed a tool, so basically he has done a very deep study that what all things are available when I'm delivering. Okay, definitely using the tool could be expensive, but it would reduce the time, the delivery time. Okay, in which the project needs to be delivered. So he did took a smarter move. Consider whatever I've heard from you, okay, from basis. So so we have to think in a circle during such situation. We have to read the personas also of the stakeholders. Okay, persona reading is altogether a new,
Mm.
means complete session we can have. So personas we have to understand, and basis that we have to make the decision that how we have to go ahead, how we have to deal with, and how we have to work fully, matlab, coordinatively and deliver things. Okay, that is all, Shankar, I can say, considering the limited thing which you have mentioned. I hope, or if you want, we can connect later also and understand things further.
Yeah, don't worry, that's fine.
Yeah.
Rajiv, there's a question from Rajiv Chauhan. If you would like to come on mic and mute yourself, I have given you access. Rajiv
Uh,
Chauhan.
yeah, hello. Hello. Am I
Yeah,
audible?
go ahead.
Hi, Raju.
Yeah, go
Yeah.
ahead.
Yeah. Hi, Priyanka. The session was very good.
Thank you.
And I have a query regarding this project.
Mm.
Like there are some project prioritize like stakeholders engagement. When a stakeholder has a high power and urgency, but lacks the legitimacy,
Hmm.
and do not have the proper understanding. Now, I am in
Hmm.
the field from preventive approach projects. I'm into oil and gas
Okay.
consultancy, and
Hmm.
we come across some clients that they want to rush everything, like they
Hmm.
want the equipment layout immediately, but they don't know what we required for preparation of an equipment layout. For example,
Hmm.
what inputs are required from the process department or from the mechanical department.
Hmm.
So this is like the project is in goes into a very haphazard way. So how
Understood.
to tackle this?
See,
Once the
so
stakeholders are not familiar with the process.
So how I do it is like I go with the negotiation technique, Raji, over here. Okay, so there is not every stakeholder have to handle things in a way it has to, but sometimes we have to negotiate also. But negotiate or rather in an informal term. Okay, for example, you have a stakeholder, okay, but you are not. So talk to him in person. Okay, everything
Mhm.
cannot have to be on a meeting room. Talk to him in person. Make sure that you make him understand that you are talking, you both are on the same goals. Okay, he is also on a goal to deliver certain things and you also have the same goal. Okay, so you have to convince him first on that part ki baba, whatever you want, the same thing I also want. Your and my KPIs are same, but it's that things cannot go haphazard. So when you talk in person with him, you know the persona, you will also understand his challenges. Okay, he will also try to understand your challenges. Okay, some stakeholders are definitely a bit difficult, aggressive, but
Yeah.
understanding the personas of the stakeholders will definitely help you to deal with them. Okay, so sometimes for what I do in person, this is completely unofficial and this is nowhere mentioned in the project manager. So if they are on floor and this, I will definitely make sure that I have a cup of tea with them. Okay, because
Mhm.
that is where we
Okay.
exchange the thoughts. Okay, who is behind them
Yeah.
so that they are so much in hurry. Okay, first
Right.
I
Right.
have to understand that. When I
Yes.
understand their pain points, they willingly wish to listen to me. Okay, so this is
Yeah.
how I deal. Okay, but this is not something being mentioned on, but definitely a way to understand that not everyone. Okay, for example, Renu is behind me. Okay, I have to do this, do this, do this. But then I would say, why Renu is so much in hurry? Then I'll understand ki, Baba, why Renu is hurry, because certain things on the higher management level is going which we are not aware of. Okay.
Mhm.
And so she may be in a hurry. So these all things, the factors you have to understand. So urgency would definitely there, and legitimacy will come into picture only when things fail or things. They have to be very thorough whether he is a legitimate or non-legitimate. Because if he has a power, he has an urgency, then definitely, and if he is being heard and listened across the forum, then you have to first identify how legitimate he is.
Mm. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Next time. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, man. Yes. Thank you so much.
I thank you, Rajiv. I don't think any other questions, so we'll move to some other different. Let's go. So, Priyanka, this is for you. Thank you for so much for sharing this wonderful knowledge. So, we, as a token of appreciation, we will be sharing a PDF certificate with you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, all those asking for PDF codes, the mail will be sent along with the templates and the PPT what Priyanka will be sharing with us. But before that, please do scan this QR code and please do share your feedback. Please, I see everyone putting wonderful session and all, and that has to go recorded. So please keep quickly scan this QR code and please do share your feedback. So I'll wait for a few seconds and I'll wait for you to scan the QR code. Okay, I think my partner Sunil is also there who has posted a feedback form link. So you can either click on the link or you can scan this QR code. So you see? Okay. Let's go to the next one. Okay. So you can also revisit this on our YouTube channel. We'll be shortly posting it, this session on the YouTube. You can revisit this session. Here is our YouTube channel. Please do follow. You can also visit, review the past sessions that we had come. And thank you so much. And then we come. Thank you, Priyanka. I also thank my volunteer Saurav. Technical staff, Mitra was there, yes, to help us arranging the Teams call and all. Sunil is there with us, who is doing the backend support for us right now. Yes, thank you, Dr. Dhananjay, for sharing the feedback. Thank you. Thank you, Tushar is there again, back technical person who is helping us. And finally, all you lovely audience, thank you so much. Thank you all
Yeah.
for being
Thanks,
with us.
everyone. Yeah.
Thank you. And I am hoping we meet in the next, we have this PM forum session on 22nd August. So I am hoping to see you all there as well. Thank you. Stay tuned. The registration will open next week. So keep check on the LinkedIn, WhatsApp channel, everywhere. We'll be posting the registration link soon. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Th-
Bye bye.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you. Bye.